What's going on, guys? We're back with another video, the first video since our 1K subscribers video, which was incredibly well received. I'm so thankful that everyone was so happy about seeing that video, because some of the response to that video is incredible. We're going to kind of, just slightly touch on that at the beginning, because we just want to thank you guys so much. I mean, I don't know if you two have anything to say about that, but the response to that video has been overwhelming. It's over 400 views, so just anything to say, guys?
Thank you for watching the video. Through the comments. Yeah. I had a quick browse through the comments, and some of the things that people have been saying have been absolutely incredible. And again, I just want to thank Oscar for doing all this work, and I think he's done a really good job with it, and we appreciate all the feedback that you guys have given us for that. So yeah, thanks.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Right, so
okay.
Now that this council is in order, what is the topic of this video?
What is that, like an order reference or something?
Yeah.
The order 1886.
Yeah. Anyway, but instead of talking about the Order 1886, which I think is actually quite a good game, but
did you pre-order it?
So do I.
I did pre-order it. Yeah, that's true.
You pre-ordered it. Oh right.
I did pre-order. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Okay, back on track. Today we're going to talk about a video. We're going to do a video about our favourite games of all time. So our top 3 games of all time, not in any specific order, because we thought that was going to be a little bit too kind of harsh on certain games, or we can't decide specifically which game's better than which. So instead we decided just going to do 3 games which are our favourites of all time. So straight off, Callum, what's your first game, I suppose, which is your favourite?
It's like the most recent of all the games that is on my list. It's Uncharted 3, because I put like so much time into playing that game. I think it's the most I've ever put into a multiplayer of any game ever. I met like all of these faggots through it in some sort of way, so it's nostalgic as well. Like, and if I do at some point go back to it, like it'll remind me of that, and then just get me that much more pumped for Uncharted 4. So that's like my first game. Juan, do you want to go next?
I will indeed. The first I will mention is a game that actually some people, the people that play it love it. The people that don't play it sort of try to downplay the importance of it. No names mentioned in particular, but it is Batman Arkham City, and that is a game that single-handedly launched me into actually becoming a serious gamer, because before then I was much more a sort of casual, as much as I hate the words, and Batman just got me that much more interested into gaming. And it was the sequel to Batman Arkham Asylum, and a lot of people prefer Arkham Asylum to City, but personally I really enjoyed the massive open world of City. And everything about the game I just absolutely loved, and it makes me that much more excited for Arkham Knight, which I hope will be even better, and coincidentally be one of the best games of all time in my opinion, and one of the games that I enjoyed playing the most. So go ahead, Oscar, go with your first game.
Yeah, so to be honest, it's not really a surprise, or I don't think anyone really is going to be surprised that my favourite game of all time, and
Destiny
is no, it's not Destiny. It's
don't start. No, we're not going down this road. Continue, Oscar.
No, it's Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. I think everyone who's probably been part of this channel for quite a long time would know that. I don't know what it is about that game, but I remember playing it when I was younger. Nostalgia is something that is often found in gaming, specifically for people who are like kind of our age, where we've kind of grown up with all the PlayStation consoles. And I think the Crash Bandicoot games as a whole were amazing, but for me personally, my favourite one out of 3, which are made by Naughty Dog anyway, excluding the CTR game, which I thought was pretty good to be fair, but it's not a kind of mainstream Crash game. But Crash 3 personally for me is my favourite game of all time, and the amount of time I spent in that game as well is quite incredible. So yeah, Callum, what's your second game on the list?
Oh shit, better open my document back up. I know that Juan's probably going to like me for this, and I really can't wait for the next release in this franchise. It's Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Again, the amount of time I put into that game was unreal. I used to sit at home and I used to play it with my brothers all the time, just doing conquests and everything all over again. Like, just the way that game played, the gameplay of it, I never got bored of it ever. And I used to, and until like my PlayStation 2 broke and they patched the PS3 thing where you couldn't play PS2 games, I played it non-stop, and I couldn't find another game to invest my time into that was actually like not nearly as much fun as I had playing that game. So yeah, that's like one of the things. I can't even think what to say. Oh my god, I'm so retarded.
Shall we just move on, Callum?
Yeah, go.
Well,
retarded.
to be fair, that is actually also one of my 3. So I'll just continue from that. Star Wars Battle. I'd put the first Star Wars Battlefront game in particular because that's the game I played more out of the 2. At the time, I didn't particularly enjoy Star Wars Battlefront 2 because it was a little bit more complicated. I preferred the simplicity behind the first Star Wars Battlefront. I'm not sure if that was just because I was young and dumb, but more just because the game was more simple. I'm not sure why, but
you still are young and dumb, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that, Callum.
You don't like Destiny. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I know. I don't like Destiny. The world is going to end. But yeah, as Callum said, with the amount of time put into this game, it was ridiculous because it wasn't just the fact that you played it for countless hours, but it was the fact that you could play it with other people for countless hours. And I remember playing it with my sister for just days, not really days, but hours on end, and with my friends that would come over, the first game we'd pick up would be Star Wars Battlefront, just because of the massive replay value. And I think it has sort of an Uncharted 3 feel to it, in that the gameplay, as Callum said, never got repetitive. You could play it again and again and again, and you never got bored of that gameplay. And for a game that was incredibly repetitive from the point of view that you had the same amount of maps, you had the same characters, it actually never got old, and that is something that only the very best games can do. So as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the games that is the best that I have played ever. So go ahead, Oscar, with your second option.
Yeah, well, originally, I mean, I'm putting Battlefront 2, because actually I personally will...
So we've all got Star
No.
It's a great game, you can't deny it.
Hang on. I was gonna put it in the list, but then I suddenly thought, well, there's one game which I think I played on the PS2 just a little bit more and enjoyed a little bit more. So Battlefront 2 specifically will go on my honourable mentions, with another game I'll mention in a minute. But this one, The Simpsons Hit and Run, is one of my favourite games of all time. I loved that game so much. I don't know what it was about it. My parents hated me playing it because it was essentially a kiddie version of GTA.
Yeah.
And whenever they saw me like running over random people, they'd be like, "Holy crap, that is so bad!" But for a 7+ game as well. But I love that game. The amount of time I spent in that game as well, along with Crash as well. It was one of my favourite games of the PS2, if not my favourite PS2 game of all time. Closely followed by Battlefront 2, I think. And so overall, I just think that game's brilliant. And if I had to pick again one of the games for the PS2, easily Simpsons Hit and Run I'd put down. But yeah, Callum, what's your final game on the list?
I completely forgot about that game. I can't remember how much time I put into that as well. I can never complete it, but yeah, whatever. The last game is probably like my favourite game like of all time, even though the other two are like amazing to me. It's Jak 2 from the Jak and Daxter series, and like that just innovated so much compared to the first game, and it was like more open world. You could go around the entire of like, I think it was Haven City, just like exploring everything. All the missions were better. You had different options all the time, and the time invested was unreal. And like I even almost did an Oscar and a Robin, and when I got the remastered trilogy for PS3, I almost went for the platinum for it, but I got bored, so I gave up on it and started playing another game instead.
Which is what you should do, Callum. You should do that. You shouldn't go for the platinum if it's boring.
Well, it didn't get boring. It's boring trying to get all these trophies at once, like find all the precursor orbs. That got on my tits. So I wasn't really going to spend like hours and hours going around the city just trying to find all of these little orbs, looking in every little nook and cranny, because that gets boring. But that is probably my favourite game ever. I played it countless hours on both PS2 and PS3, and I could still go back now and play it again. So yeah, Juan.
Okay. My third, and of course there's so many games that could go in this list, but my third, I think, just has to be The Last of Us, which may come as a surprise to you, but I think that game, there's been so many things said about that game that, I could just say again and again because they're all really true, but The Last of Us is just a game that I really enjoyed, not because it was incredibly good in terms of gameplay or in general quality and value for it, but just because the story was so powerful to me. And Compared to some TV shows, of course, the story's not going to be all that great, but I think the combination of, you know, all the feelings and emotions behind each and every character that is in the game, I think that is what all those things combined is what made the game so powerful to me. And plus the music is so brilliant, and there's just everything about the game that I love. And the first time I played through The Last of Us, I didn't fully appreciate, you know, the game as a whole. I didn't think it was deserved of all the recognition it was getting. I honestly didn't think it was nearly as good as Uncharted 2, but when I played it again, that sort of convinced me that it was right up there in terms of the best games of all time for me. Anyway, that because I can only judge games that I've played, and I think we may as well go through our honourable mentions afterwards. So for your final game, Oscar, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as Ghost just said, The Last of Us is actually my final game as well. That game was, to me, I'd probably say it's the best game on PS3 if I had to choose. And everyone would be like, oh my god, no, what he's on about, it's Uncharted 2. Well, no, personally for me,
his opinion is invalid.
What happened to him with Uncharted 2, that kind of like emotional feel, or, well, not especially emotional, but like, you know, it changed the kind of industry for him personally. I felt that The Last of Us is essentially the same for that, for me anyway. So I felt that The Last of Us is personally the best game on the PS3. And I just, overall, that game was amazing for me. I think I'd personally say it's second if I had to choose out the 3 games I've said. I'd go Crash 3, The Last of Us, and then Simpsons Hit and Run. But I mean, yeah, as I said, like The Last of Us is an incredible game. Ghost was saying it earlier, you know, saying how, like, you know, the emotions and how that always kind of comes together with stories is something that I don't think that other games have done. I think that was the first that The Last of Us had ever done, and for me that was an important kind of thing that The Last of Us came from a game which you don't see very often in games, like emotional kind of things. You'll see it in movies, you'll see it sometimes in TV shows as well. So for me, The Last of Us is one of those games which just, you know, was special. And whether it'll ever be topped in the PS3, well, I don't think it will now because of the PS3 kind of gone now, but the PS4, maybe it might. But for me, PS3, Last of Us, best game, easy.
It's understandable.
Okay, cool. Shall we go on to our honourable, well, because there's quite a few honourable mentions, but just a few games that that came close to making the list.
Yeah.
I think. Do you want me to go or what?
Yeah. Well, let's go around again.
Well, yeah. There's like obviously Hit and Run for the same reasons that Oscar mentioned, because it was just insane, and it was like a childhood GTA. It was brilliant. The Last of Us again is an honourable mention for me because of like the emotional power of it and how that like got to me. Like the beginning, for example, and like the ending as well was just like incredible. Like they said, you would like more likely be able to see that in TV or movies or something. And then I'm going to be really weird, and I'm going to put a COD game in there because it was. No, it's not Destiny. I'm going to put in Call of Duty 5 World at War because I love
that game too, actually.
Yeah, the zombie mode in that was incredible. Like, I remember playing for countless hours on that with my brother as well, and online as well, with just random people, putting hours into it, just trying to get to the highest level possible. And that never got boring to me as well, just like any of the games on this list. So that's pretty much my honourable mentions, so I'm going to hand it over to Juan.
Okay. My honourable mentions, my particular ones that I was considering for this list anyway, were Portal 2, because it was such a fun game, and it was one that, well, it was a puzzle game that wasn't too hard, it just got hard enough for it to still be enjoyable, and that's something that was incredibly hard to do. So Portal 2, Crash Bandicoot, obvious, and Destroy All Humans, because Destroy All Humans was just...
Oh, that game was brilliant.
It was
I never got to play that
brilliant,
game. I was really annoyed. I remember
class.
seeing that game in like the
I
shelf.
absolutely loved Destroy All Humans, just because at the time I thought I was such a badass playing Destroy All Humans, and it was just... the reason that I was considering that is because of nostalgic feelings, but of course when I look at these sorts of games, I have to sort of put quality over nostalgia, because you know, some games would purely make this list for nostalgic reasons, but weren't actually very good games. So, you know, Destroy All Humans was a good game, but not really comparable to any of the other games on this list. But I was considering it for a bit, but yeah. So that's all my honourable mentions.
Yeah, pretty much you've already heard one of mine, which was Battlefront 2. I personally loved that game as well, as much as, you know, Juan. and Callum have said before. But obviously, for me, another game has got to go on there, and that's obviously Uncharted 3. That game I spent again hours playing the multiplayer. This campaign for me was very, very nearly as good as Uncharted 2. I think that people do bash it slightly for its campaign. I don't think it was that bad as compared to Uncharted 2's, but obviously Uncharted 2 is another one we'll mention as well, of Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. Not played the full Uncharted Drake's Fortune. I will put that out there right now. I've not fully played Uncharted Drake's Fortune.
Disappointing.
I got halfway through.
Is this why you want the remake trilogy so much, Oscar,
yes,
just so you can play through that first game?
I would play it in 1080p, 60 frames per second.
I would genuinely love that, just so I could play the game on my PS4, and that'd be fantastic. But
and
another
get the platinum.
yeah, and that as well. And then finally, the final game I was putting on this list was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Which I think was a brilliant game on the PS1. Again, another one of those games which you played for hours on end on the PS1. And that's pretty much it. I don't have any other games that I want to honourable mention. Can you say that? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, hang on. I've just quickly thought one. I'm going to say
okay.
I'm going to chuck Skate 3 out there as well on the PS3. Because again, hours playing that, just trying to master all the tricks, going over all the jumps and everything. And it's probably one of the only fun sports games, I guess you could call it, that I've played, because FIFA sucks. So yeah.
FIFA 07 on the PSP, I love that.
That was probably the only other good one that there was.
FIFA reached its peak, FIFA 10, FIFA 11 for me, but
yeah,
it's never been that good. You can't compare them to these sorts of games.
Anyway, this is a completely other different video entirely. So we want to thank you a lot for watching, and we hope to see you again next time. I'm going to do the outro for once, because Oscar's a cheeky... I don't even know. He just takes it over all the time. So yeah, I'm going to end the video. Later, bitch.
That is the worst outro I've ever heard.
I tried, okay?
Tell us your favourite video. Your favourite videos. Now you've confused me, Callum.
Are we still going? I'm
yes,
so
we
confused.
are. We're still going. We're still going with this outro. This is the best outro you'll ever see on this channel.
Juan, Dutch, bye.
We want to know your favourite games of all time. Tell us, and then say Dutch, and then say basically, and then say Juan, and then say anything else that you want to say.
Porn.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh,
what the fuck?
Right, see you in the next video.